Next up, we have CJ Christian.
I'm sorry. Almost forgot.
Hey guys, first of all, I just wanted to, I asked Patrick if I'd come up kind of early because I wanted to address everybody out here. So we got a pretty big group. And I've gotten a lot of hate from much both sides for my involvement in this organization or in this protest. And I want to tell you a couple things. The problem that we have right now with our justice system isn't a black problem. It's not a white problem. It's a problem. You're looking at a guy who's got a record, but I've never broken the law. Why? Because the justice system is jacked up. If the police if they arrest you on something and they can't prove it, you know what they do? They change the charges. And they try to get you on something, anything, so that you're in the system. We have that problem right here in Bell County. And it's a problem that affects all of us. And what I would like to ask everybody here, because I'll tell you what, I respect, where's Patrick at? Come here, brother. Patrick and I've had the opportunity to meet this man for the last few weeks. We don't agree on a lot politically, probably. But we do agree on a lot. I believe in the Constitution. I took in 1994, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. That First Amendment protects speech that we disagree with. Need it. It specifically protects speech we disagree with. What I would like to ask everybody here, because we got a pretty diverse group, is while people are speaking, if you disagree with them, just disagree with them. But please don't shout anybody down. Please listen with an open heart, with an open mind. You might leave here and you might not change your heart at all. You might not change your beliefs at all, and I don't think you should have to if that's what you believe. But please listen with an open heart. Listen with an open mind. The only way that we as a people are going to grow and progress is if we come together in our differences and support each other when we disagree with them especially. And the last thing we need to be doing when we disagree with somebody is shouting them down, beating them up, knocking them down, burning them down, doing exactly what's being done right now. All right? Marvin Lewis Guy, I want to tell you a little bit about why I'm here also. Marvin Lewis Guy has been sitting in jail for 6 years now. And I want you to put yourself, kind of close your eyes and I want you to listen to me. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. You're laying down with your wife or your girlfriend, your loved one, your boyfriend, whoever it is, your husband. And you're enjoying a peaceful sleep. All of a sudden, that peaceful sleep is shattered by people breaking into your home through your windows and through your doors. You have no idea who it is. The first thing that's going through your mind is somebody's breaking into my house and they're doing it violently. And the first thing you're thinking about is I'm going to protect my children, I'm going to protect my wife, I'm going to protect my husband, whoever it is. And that's exactly what Marvin Lewis Guy did 6 years ago. Some people were breaking into his house and he defended himself, and unfortunately a police officer died. That police officer was Officer Dinwiddie, and Officer Dinwiddie was actually a pretty decent man except for the fact that he was executing a no-knock search warrant, which needs to end. But that man died because they broke into his home and he defended himself, and now a man is in jail for 6 years without a trial yet. Marvin Lewis Guy is his name. And that's not the beginning of the injustice, or that's just the beginning of the injustice. I go and put money on his commissary account very often. And if you go and you try to donate to somebody that's in jail, whether they're in there for a good reason or if they're in there illegitimately, like I think Marvin Lewis Guy is, the state and prison system takes about 20% of that. So when I donate $20 to Marvin so that he can get food in jail while he's being held against his will for a crime he didn't commit because he defended his home, the state's getting $8 of that. That's part of the injustice as well. We need to change the state of law enforcement, and we need to change the justice system. This is how we do it, by speaking up and by coming together. If you're in this crowd, no matter what your political beliefs are, and you don't think we have a problem with law enforcement and with the justice system, then you're part of the problem, because there is a problem. Now, we can disagree on what extent that problem is. We can disagree to the extent, but you're looking at a man who's been tased, who's been beaten, who's had guns stuck to his head, who's had his head cracked open on the concrete by cops, who's been forced into jail, who's been denied medical treatment, who's been denied food, who's been lied about on his police reports, who's had his stuff stolen from law enforcement. Okay, this happens to all of us, and we all need to come together for this common bond. Patrick, thank you for being here, for doing this, and I just ask everyone here, listen to each other, talk to each other. Don't yell at each other, talk to each other. And we can all learn something, and we can all come together and be stronger, because as long as we're divided along political lines, along racial lines, along sex lines, along who we sleep with at night lines, as long as we're divided, guess who's going to win? Guess who has all the power? The government. The government's got all the power, and the power belongs to you and I. That's what the Constitution protects. Oh.
Said you were looking for me. Oh, yeah. Let me see the chief still here. I was just going to introduce you to the chief. Thanks.
Last time there was a rally here, there was a group of troublemakers that started about 4 blocks that way down in the park. So Shafe and I went down there and kind of reconned it. There's nothing going on.
Excellent. Oh, there he is over there. This is Chief Ellis. He's the Belton Police Chief. David Ahmed, he's our Vice President. Chief Berg, he's Assistant Chief.
David Ahmed, glad to know you, sir.
So he's kind of our point of contact while I'm gone. He's been taking on he sees what a crap job I have now. All the phone calls and the emails and the messages and
It's 1/3 gopher, 1/3 secretary, 1/3 babysitter. Yeah.
Don't forget whack-a-mole.
Oh, there's a hefty amount of that in there.
And then managing a group of 33,000 people with 33,000 different ways of looking at things. And
if you're not kicking butts, you're wiping.
Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to introduce you to him, and if you see him,
yes, sir.
He lives in Houston though, so you won't see him that much.
I'm a Houston native, so.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good place to be from. From's a key word.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we heard that the last time there was a thing here that there were some troublemakers in a little park down there, so we decided to go down there and just recon it. Turns out there's nobody there. That's beautiful. That little park, really something else. What river is that?
It's Nolan Creek, closer to Leon.
Well, my boy has got probably another year and a half before he's doing junior college right now to get all the basics out of the way, and I think he's going to A&M. And when he goes to A&M, I'm going somewhere too. I'm getting out of that. Oh.
How's it going?
Well, I grew up in Channel. Right across the channel.
I was chief in Central City for a year.
All right, I'll talk to you later. All right, guys, here at the Belton protests. How's it going?
Watching this guy. He's the one who was screaming out while you were talking.
I called him out.
Okay.
Yeah, I called him out. I was like, if we're just screaming at each other, like he starts screaming like that guy is right now.
I heard you say something, but I couldn't tell exactly. It's hard to hear. Once
Yeah.
you get past the sidewalk, it's hard to hear.
Yeah.
My father ran to me, begging me to call the police, but my fear wasn't. My fear
y'all hear that?
Not only did they tell my father that he didn't have the right to speak on his own property, but that they threatened that they would take him away from us. For trying to defend us. My father has been a patron in this community for 60 years. Sorry. He's a very hardworking man. He has 4 daughters who love him. He has a wife who loves him. I think 37 years they've been married now. And in that split second, his life meant absolutely nothing to the police department that showed up. In a split second, a man
What's that?
What's the deal with the AR pistols today with no holsters?
Where?
Oh, there's a bunch of them here.
Well,
The 3 black guys that walked up to me that I said, hey man, they're going to get on to you about that. And they walked straight to you after that, after jumping on me.
I don't, that's up to them. Now, I'll tell you, I don't care. They shouldn't have to have a holster for, but let the police deal with
Well, the
it.
police ain't
Somebody's
dealing
got
with
an
it.
AR pistol.
Well, that's,
several
do
here
you know
with
why?
AR pistols.
Do you know why they're not dealing with it?
Because they don't want to start something.
No,
but that's a
because
privilege issue.
Belton PD supports gun rights. I've walked around with my AR. Actually, I've walked around with my SBR talking to,
And SBR is a rifle still, though.
but I have to have his tax stamp.
But that's still legally a rifle, though.
But you still have to have a tax stamp.
Right. They don't even question. I'm telling you, Belton PD thinks that Chief Ellis thinks all these laws are unconstitutional as well.
Good.
So I mean, I don't
There's
care.
a Draco right there.
I guarantee you,
Hustling.
if you were carrying your AR pistol here, you'd be just as
Well,
not
it'd still
harassed
be,
as
Still be illegal as
it would be.
anybody else doing it.
Well,
And
It'd be
with my
illegal,
luck,
but it'd
I'd
be
the one that they
constitutional.
decide to get a ticket that day.
exactly.
It'd be illegal, but it'd be
It
constitutional.
would be against the law, but it would be perfectly well within the limits of the Constitution.
Right.
And I'd be the one they decide to try it on that
Oh,
day.
I know.
So, seems
Yeah.
like we may just need to put a bug in your, hey, I have a friendly notice here. We don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want to see myself get
Well,
in trouble.
that's what I told
I
people out
attempted
at
that,
Odessa
and
and at Gonzales.
I've been to Odessa. I've been dozens of these events, but this one's different.
But I probably should just tell them just in the future because you might come
I
across.
tried giving them a notice, hey guys, and they got an attitude with me because
Oh really?
my wife was right there when I tried telling them.
Yeah.
Got an attitude with me, and they went straight for me, straight to you. Talked to you, talked to the Belton.
Oh, they
PD,
didn't
and you
say
walked them
anything.
across the street.
They didn't say anything about it. Yeah,
All
to me
three
about
of them
it.
had AR pistols.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I was talking about their pistols, but I don't care. I mean, that's on them to do. Hell, you know what I did? I was actually gonna I had put my pistol upper on this, and I was like, you know
The
what?
new one you bought?
This is the new one I just made. Yeah, this is the new one I
That's
just
the
built.
one you just built.
This is the one I just built
from the ground up.
from the ground up.
None of this pre-assembled
Nope.
trigger.
Everything from the
setup.
ground up. But then I was
How
like,
hard was that?
it's not that hard, but it's tedious.
Okay.
There are so many springs and pins, and if you don't lose a spring or pin, you didn't really build your first rifle. Okay?
The Delta makes a kit called the fuck up kit.
Yeah, oops kit. I got
It's
several
called the
oops
fuck up kit.
kits.
It comes with a band-aid in it.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they come with
Literally,
springs,
you can
pins.
assemble an AR in about 45 minutes from the ground up.
If you know what you're doing, you can do it in 45 minutes. It's taken me about a month.
Did you? Is that a 80% lower or is that a?
No, it was it's completely stripped, but
Okay.
the guy built it for me. It wasn't 80%,
Okay.
and he milled it out for me.
Okay, I got you.
So,
Because that's what I'm doing.
yeah.
I'm going to get an 80% lower and then build the thing from the ground up.
Now that
There's
I
not
don't
gonna-
have. Yeah.
There's not going to be a number on it.
Yep.
There's going to be absolutely nothing except probably that little meme that says, "Here's my serial
Yeah.
number."
Yep.
Well, David, CJ, I have to get the jig at home to do it because I'm currently in the middle of an 80%.
Really?
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I am more than willing to loan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I may. What part of the country you live in?
But anyway,
Here in Gatesville.
what I was saying is, I had put my my AR pistol upper
I
on
may
this,
swing by.
which
Well,
essentially
I may swing
creates
by.
an SBR. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. But then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I thought
I'm a
maybe
law-abiding
I said
citizen.
maybe I was wrong. I called Matt. Matt said CJ knows better. He bought a holster for me just for it.
Yeah.
Because Matt was my instructor.
Yeah.
And he said, hell no, they're
No,
wrong.
yeah, they're wrong.
And I Googled it, and they're wrong again.
Yeah.
But if I say anything, they got an attitude with me already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, they know me, so
No.
maybe if I bring it up, they'll
Well,
understand, and maybe they'll come and say, "Look, dude,
like I said, I tried already, and they jumped on me and got an
Yeah.
attitude. And it's the color of my skin.
right."
It's ridiculous. That's why I don't have a yellow bandana today.
So you can.
No.
Yeah.
I think this whole thing is wrong.
Well, it is. I mean, what they're fighting for is some of what they're fighting
Belton
for.
doesn't have that issue though.
No, it doesn't. Well,
I
that's why
understand
Chief
they
is
have
going to
issue.
speak. Chief is going to speak today.
But his post on Facebook, he called out a lot of people in Belton that don't exist.
Oh yeah.
He did, and you can say whatever you want, but there was no
Oh no,
call for
I
unity.
disagree with a lot of what he says.
Well,
That's what I said up
was-
there.
I even called Matt and said, "Do not answer my phone when he called into the radio show. Do not answer me if I call. Hang up on me because the things I had to say would not be beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't claim all that stuff and then claim unity.
Right.
You can't.
No, I
Now,
agree.
That guy holding that flag there, you should go talk to them. His name was Duncan Limp.
Oh, I know who Dunk Limp is. Yeah. A white guy killed by cops.
Yep, from the outside of his house.
Yep. Shot right through his freaking window.
While
What
his
is it?
pregnant wife was in the room.
Is it raining or
It's
does it
the
come from the
trees-
tree?
it's trees weeping.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna continue my little walk around and
You
stuff.
see him, let him know. 'cause
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
We've been doing this way too long. We've been talking about the same thing way too long. It's not a secret. It's not a secret that black people are mistreated in this country. It's been like that since we got here. How long have we been here? I know the answers in y'all head, but long enough. Long enough to where, why is it that I'm asking to be treated equal? I'm asking to not be killed when I walk outside. A lot of people don't understand what it's like to walk outside and think in my head, am I gonna make it home? Is this cop gonna be one of those cops? Am I gonna be one of those stories you see on YouTube? Is my mom gonna see me on YouTube? I don't want that for no young black people. Because it's been way too long that we sat here and we watched it over and over and over and over and over to the point where we're coming down to it, people. This is a thing that we're used to. And this is not something we should be used to. This is something we should be talking about. This is something that every single person here should be upset about. The fact that people, when I say I want to be treated equal, we always get a but. Why is it that when I say stop killing me, we get a but? But nothing.
No, nothing happened. The reason that it's in Belton is because the organizer believes that
Very frustrating.
a lot of these small town voices aren't being heard because of all the big city protests that have resulted in violence. And so he's been organizing these protests in small towns to show that you can protest and not be violent and get change, but it's just a way to allow small towns to take part in the movement for police reform.
I just want y'all to think about that for a little bit. Let my brother come here and speak. Thank you very much for letting me come here and speak to you guys. Y'all please give my brother another round of applause, please. I mean, that's my younger brother.
Yeah.
So he gets to see everything that happened to me growing up, and then he has to deal with it as well. So he gets to see both sides of it. He gets to double of it. He gets to see me getting pulled over, him in the back seat or in the passenger seat, wondering what the hell is going on. Now he has to deal with it. So that's my little brother. Little brother. I know he don't look little, but that's
Hang on,
my
guys.
still little brother. I came out here today, of course, as a security detail to help out everybody here, make sure everybody is safe. But at the same time, I made sure to come out here to make sure this person right here, and that person right there come home. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just get to the point. So first I'm gonna go ahead and start off. My name is Jesse. I'm the co-founder of Collection of Visuals with my brothers here. I'm the CEO as well. So I mean, I deal with operations. I mean, this is what we do on a daily basis. So first thing I want to say, I definitely appreciate everybody coming out here, giving us this opportunity to speak to y'all today. Because Number one, for me, it's not easy because I do have to speak to y'all about the beliefs that I believe in, and I know not everybody believes in them, so it's going to be hard to persuade some of y'all. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to actually speak the truth. You do with the truth what you want to do. I don't care. So, the first thing I do want to touch on is, of course, law enforcement. What is it that about us and law enforcement? What is the difference? What is the issue? I mean, I really want somebody to answer that question for me because I keep looking for the answers. I can't find it. Every time I look outside, I can't find the answer. What am I doing wrong? I'm sitting in the car. My car's tinted. Yeah, okay, so what? I don't have nothing on me. I'm going to the store. I'm going to work, actually. I'm actually going to work at the law enforcement building that y'all work at, too. And I'm still getting pulled over because I don't have a damn badge on. So that's what I have to deal with. So, yeah, I'm pissed off. But I'm coming out here to speak to you because I don't want to be pissed off anymore. I want to be able to go home and deal with everybody the same way. I want everybody to go home and be dealt with the same way. I want to be able to be up here and stand and speak to you not only as a black man that's having issues with this country and the rest of the people in it, but as a black man saying, hey, let's all get together and figure out a solution to this problem. I mean, that's all it is. If we come together and find a solution, we can probably solve it. I'm not saying it's going to be solved in a day. I'm not saying it's going to be solved in a year or in a month.
Shoot.
But what I am saying is that it's something that can be worked on.
Guess I did it too much. I'll just sit over here.
I just want everybody to sit here and really just think to themselves, what is it that you want your kids to grow up in? I mean, y'all want them to keep going through the same 50 years, 100 years, 400 years, 1,000 years? Is that what we're going to do? Just keep going in rotation?
Sorry, guys. I'm helping with the sound as well.
I am. I'm tired of it. I'll be 28 this year. And I'm already tired because I've been dealing with it for 28 years. And that's the craziest part about it. Because I am 28. My mom's 50. And she's been dealing with it 50 years. My dad, when he was here, he was 56 when he was here. He was dealing with 56 years. So it's always a continuous rotation. So why can't this rotation be stopped? I don't understand that. So please, somebody give me an answer. Thank you.
Good evening, y'all. Good evening, y'all. My name is Raekwon Davis. I am also a co-owner and chief financial officer of the Collection of Visuals, the same entity that my brothers right here embody. And we would like to let y'all know there are 3 things that we focus on. We focus on collective collaboration, peace, and being a servant to others. And right here today, right here, right now, tonight, we're here to tell you no more. No more. No more. Philando Castile, Terrence Crutcher, Ahmaud Arbery, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland. I can go on and on. Raekwon Davis. Yeah, I said my name. I said my name because if we don't change something, the inevitable will keep knocking at our door until we do. We need reformation, we need change, and we need it immediately. I see a lot of people out here, I see black, white, I see all colors of the spectrum, and that is beautiful, Belton. That is beautiful. The desire is good, but the reality is so far from desire. It is the polar opposite. Unlike America would like us to believe, the biggest issue facing us today is not the novel corona, it's not COVID-19, it's not these isolations. It is black people. It is the disregard for black life. It is the lack of empathy for black lives. And I'm with my brother right there. I wonder when this country will awaken from this deep, deep slumber, this deep REM cycle state that we are stuck in today. And we must begin to raise questions like these daily. We must challenge these dysfunctional systems daily, every minute of every hour of every day. Every day. I don't know if we understand, I don't know if we grasp the severity of the situation. We're talking crimes against humanity. And when you ask me how you can assist me as a black man, as a black person, you just have to know what we're willing to fight for. What are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to stand up against that I go through? You say you love me. Show me. Show me. We will unify. This country can no longer afford to solely move politically. We must move with morality. Morality is the distinction between right and wrong. If you are against equality, you have no morality. If you have no morality, you are against us. You are against us. In the words of the late Dr. Kwame Ture, some of you may know as Stokely Carmichael, we must develop an undying love for our people. Everybody, we must develop an undying love for our people. And it must go nowhere. How much more blood, America? And I know my brother Patrick told me to be brief, but I've been waiting on this morning. How much more blood, America, will we shed? And you wonder why we're mad. We have worked. Our blood gorges the street every day. We have toiled to build this country up from the grassroots. And the reason we are not free today, and to this day, this country cannot truly free us and survive without how it's been treating black people. We must take down the system, we must change it. We need reformation, and we need it immediately. I will keep saying that. We need change, y'all. We need to tear it down and start it all over. I don't know if y'all know Christmas Addicts. Does anybody know Christmas Addicts? He was the first man to die for this country, for the revolution. In 1770, he was the first man to pass. And he was a black Native American man. We have been fighting, we have been bleeding on this soil since we came here, since the origination of this nation. I truly express my gratitude to y'all for lending me an ear. Like my first sister said, I did not come here to be nice. I did not come here to be harsh. But if you take my words harsh because they flow like the Nile River, if you take my words harsh, that's okay. That means I got your attention. And I'm going to end on this. I just, if you know, just please give me a couple more times. Looking away when you have the power to make a difference is the same evil as committing the evil. When looking away when you have the chance to make a difference is the same as committing the same evil that has been done. We must put an end to qualified immunity. No more. These men and women should not have a license to kill and hide behind a badge for their own errors. They are not our judge, they are not our jury, they are not our executioner. Accountability must be simple. I believe in the proverb, you reap what you sow. These officers need to reap what they sow. And if what they reap is death, so shall it be. Peace and love and blessings.
Hashtag Black in Belton. Rebecca Oldham, if you can make your way up to the podium, please. Hashtag Black in Belton. Y'all say it with me. Hashtag Black in Belton. Hashtag Black in Belton. Hashtag Black in Belton. Let me get to some black stories in Belton, since a lot of y'all think there ain't no racism and hate here.
Let it be known, brother.
Rebecca Oldham, our youth director at church, is a white male. One day I had to work late. I asked him if he could drop my boys off at my beauty shop. The cop was parked in an apartment complex adjacent to our church. He watched my two boys, then ages 15 and 14, get into the truck with the young man. I'm gonna let Rebecca tell her story. Crystal Polk Taylor, black in Belton. I grew up in Belton. I graduated from Belton High School in 1996. The first time I was ever referred to as the N-word was at Central Elementary when I was 4th grade. I didn't have any issues with law enforcement, but in school I could honestly say that I didn't have equal opportunities solely based on who I was and what I wasn't. Black in Belton.
Michael Carpenter. Being black in Belton means being loved only when it's convenient or you have something to offer. Mike Gobert. Being black in Belton on the campus of University of Mary Hardin Baylor, where most professors grade you harder because you are an athlete. The black part of it was the weird looks that the administrator would give me, in which their looks said, you must be an athlete. Because most black people on the campus are athletes. Quick story. My girlfriend at the time worked in the education office. I went to visit with her at work. I came into the office, smiled, and said hello to everyone in the room. I was raised to say hello when walking into a room of people. That sound familiar to some of y'all? I chatted with my girlfriend for maybe 10 minutes or so privately, then we left. When I walked out, the two older white ladies in the room literally asked my girlfriend, is he a thug? If they felt that I looked or acted as a thug, imagine how many other white women on campus thought that. So again, I hope whomever reads this understands what one must feel when any black person on campus gets the look of, you must be an athlete, or are you a thug? Morgan Jones, black in Belton. We experienced the racism, enough to make an impact on us, but not big enough to raise suspicion. Just enough to give others an advantage, no matter how small. I always say the opportunities in Belton are endless as long as you can advocate for yourself and your family. Black in Belton. Black in Belton, Darius Alexander. Black people are so athletic. They got the extra muscles. You don't sound black if I close my eyes and listen to you. I'd rather someone like you date my daughter because you're not really black or act black. I can only date you behind closed doors because my parents would flip if they found out. As being pulled over and being asked, do her parents know she's out this late? I'm talking about Belton, Texas. Dating a girl who was half white, half Hispanic, and being told by her Hispanic dad that because I was black, I couldn't date his daughter because he didn't believe in mixing races. Right here in Belton, Texas. Being told you should go to school in Temple because it's more acceptable. Being black right here in Belton, Texas. Those were just a few experiences from Darius. Mr. Hurd. I got pulled over and taken to jail for being in my own apartment complex because they didn't believe I could afford living at Legacy Landing. Belton, Texas. A man went to jail because they didn't believe that he lived in a nice, gated community. Shanika Williams, and then I'm gonna move on. I've been in Belton since 2003, sixth grade year till I graduated. It was very hard being accepted. You're labeled as trashy, ghetto, ugly. They only wanted to be your friends if someone black wanted to kick. You were never invited anywhere unless you were very, very light or an athletic. I was called the N-word, and white folks walked around saying the N-word like it was nothing. I ended up graduating early and coming back to walk with my class. I could go on, but they're not ready for that conversation. Hashtag Black in Belton. Next up, I will have Patrick Gamble speaking on behalf of Belton Taylor Garrett. Thank you, Pizzo. Can everybody hear me out there? Oh, good? We good? Okay. Let us know. I go by the name of Patrick Gamble, also known as Pat G. Born and raised in Temple, Texas. This is my brother, Brody. This is my real brother right there from Brooklyn Pizzo right here. So I'm actually just reading this statement from the young brother, Tyler Garrett. And so this is his statement right here. Okay? He's a graduate of Belton High. He's going to be going to the University of Houston where he's majoring in applied ethics and philosophy and attending a law school afterwards. He hopes to work on ending the death penalty criminal justice reform, and serving the great state of Texas as a representative. Okay? And this is his quote, and I quote, "The opposite of poverty isn't wealth, it's justice. When I was told I would be blessed with the opportunity to write this, I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what to say, how to write, or where to even begin in addressing the problems this country is facing right now. But let's start with the way we view our community. A big part of how we see a community stems from the parts of town, the good part and the bad part. What often translates into, however, the white part or the minority part of town. What this ends up doing is absolving us. Me, fellow middle-class white people, of recognizing that this is still our community and we still have work to do in addressing these problems. A big problem here today is the sins of our ancestors don't affect innocent people today. That is simply not true. Based on the data from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finance, the typical black family has only 10 cents of every dollar held by the typical white family. Whether it was the government handing out money to white men, or slavery, now the New Deal, and policies that help shape modern wealth, the government not recognizing housing discrimination as a violation of the 13th Amendment until the 1960s, denial of the GI Bill, the Jim Crow, Black Codes. What more do you need to see? Another argument is, why doesn't Black Lives Matter address black-on-black crime? A newspaper in Cleveland put it best. When someone commits an act of terrorism against the United States, which rightfully leads to anger and sadness, no one asks. But what about how many Americans kill other Americans each year? Because that would sound crazy, now wouldn't it? But, by all means, let's talk about black-on-black crime. You probably heard a statistic like this before. The majority of black people murdered by other black people are killed by other black people. That's true, but also misleading. The overwhelming majority of white murder victims each year are killed by white assailants. So when's the last time you heard the term white-on-white crime? Alright? We need to stop thinking only about racism and whether people are racist. That is simply not enough. It allows people who aren't racist to refuse action because they simply cannot change someone's mind. We need to start viewing racism as the ways that our nation was founded upon, principles of white supremacy, the legacy that they leave, and the duty we have to fix it. I'll finish with a quote for white people. If that makes you uncomfortable, good. The quote was written by a white person. Take time to listen and digest what is being said. So what has happened to my voice if I stay silent when black people are dying? And I'm trying to be politically correct. We take all we want from the black culture, but will we show up for black lives? And so, really quickly, that was Tyler Garrett's quote right there. I'm gonna leave y'all with a little something I got to say. Really quickly, I know everybody's here for different reasons, whatever that may be. But I need everybody out here to take some time to go look in the mirror and think about yourself. Think about what you can be doing better to change what's going on in your own community. All right? Because everybody has an opinion, everybody has something to say, but we really need to sit and think about what we can do as an individual and take care of these problems that are facing our country. Take the time to really, really understand what you can do better. That goes for me too, myself included. If I can say something, if I can speak up to somebody, then it's time to do it. If you can show solidarity, if you need to apologize to somebody, do it. If you can come out to more of these protests and say something, if you can post something online, do it. Everybody has a voice. And the only way that evil will triumph is that good men and women do nothing. And for my Christians out here, you cannot say that you love God, but not love your fellow man. You can't say that. I'm going to say it again because I don't think y'all heard me. If you say that you are a Christian and you believe in Jesus Christ, you cannot say that you love God and not love the person standing next to you. So, if you're a Christian, whether you're Christian or not, we can all do better. Get on your knees and pray for this country. Pray for everybody. Pray for unity. All right? And like I got this saying, my brand and my motto is called be relentless, okay? So I'm going to end it like this. Like I always say, be relentless. We don't just talk, we live it. Thank y'all.
Hello, my name's Rebecca Oldham. I've grown up in this town. I've lived here my whole life. I happen to marry a black male, so my kids are mixed. A lot of times they do get harassed. Started off, probably the first time was when they were leaving church, like kids called out. They were pulling out of the church. The youth director was driving. He had not quite put his seatbelt on yet, but they were pulling out. But the cop was parked across the street of the parking lot at an apartment
Fix the mic.
complex.
She's not part.
When he got close to them, he pulled them over as soon as they got onto the street and said that he pulled them over because he had no seatbelt on, which very true. He didn't have it on when he took off, but wanted to know why my boys were present with him. I go to a predominantly white church, so it did look probably suspicious to them having two black males in the vehicle with him. My boy, my oldest boy, is very furry. He's had a beard since 14, so they wanted to ask him for his ID, which he had none. He's a kid, he's 14. But asked him to get out the vehicle so he could check them. That started the first initial contact for them. After that, they become a little more defensive. Let's move forward. 14 years old, Temple skate rink. My son's skating. He's at a birthday party. Skating fast, kids skate fast. That's what they do when you're skating. But they wanted him to leave. They ejected him out of the skating rink. They said he had to be banned. But he's at a party. I dropped him off at said party with this parent to watch him. So he could not leave. Temple has a curfew. So my son, they're trying to eject him out, decides to leave the skating rink, and he's going to walk up to McDonald's and call me to come pick him up. Upon him leaving, my son doesn't know Temple has a curfew. My kid has never been out of my sight. This is the first time I entrusted him to be with someone at a birthday party. My son, when I come to pick him up, he is outside on the curb, handcuffed. 14. I'm curious when I get there because when I pull up, my son's not answering his phone. I keep calling, he's still not answering his phone. I go inside, but before I go inside, I have a friend of mine that's an officer in the parking lot, and I see him, and I said, hey, what's going on here? There's a lot of cops here. He's like, just a bunch of hoodlums acting out. Okay, so I go in, and I don't see my kid anywhere inside, nor anyone that's in the party. That's because they're all outside, cuffed on the side of the skating ring. The parent of the party, who kept trying to argue for my son to be able to stay there, ends up getting arrested because she was being disruptive. Only because she wanted to protect him because he is my child and I entrusted him in her custody while he was at a party. That is something that has traumatized my son. He had slept with me for 2 nights because he's never been in trouble like that before. They were banned from the skating rink for life. That's crazy. Those are little things. There's more recently, I run a beauty shop here in town. My son drove up to come visit me, but before he pulled up, there were several officers running the parking lot. We thought something was going on. We didn't know what, but we were going to inquire, be nosy, minding our own business. I'm cutting a customer's hair, and my son comes in. He's like, hey, what's up, Mom? I'm hugging on him, and then he turns around to hug my receptionist, who happens to be my child. So he's talking with my daughter, and the officer comes in and says, you come here. And we're all looking around like, who's he talking to? He's like, you, and points at my kid to come back out. So my son comes outside, and they point at his car, and they said, where are you coming from? He's like, I just woke up, went to my grandma's, went to Bush's, came over here to see my mom before I go to work. They said he fit the description of a male that just robbed Walmart. I get that. He may fit the description, but they're looking through his vehicle, checking it out. He has everything he needs. What upset me more was when he presented his receipt for his Bush's chicken that he just purchased. They crumbled it and threw it in his face and said, that's a forgery. Anybody can make that up. I had to go to Bush's Chicken to get the video to show he was in a drive-thru. Those are the little things that we encounter here in this town, and I've lived here my whole life. That is really, it's very hurtful that my kids have been through that. So I just wanted to be out here today to support my kids and let everyone know that although they are mixed, they still encounter the same barriers that everyone else does. Thank you.
Hashtag. introduce Kevin.
How's everybody doing today? My name's Kevin Kuntz. I'm so glad to be here and speak on this. I'm a resident of Belton, and if you haven't noticed, I'm a big white guy. So didn't anybody want to get anybody confused, but I am more than happy to be up here to talk about things. To be honest, I don't do this. I don't speak publicly very often. This is something new to me, and when I get nervous, when something happens, I like to turn to prayer. So if you're not a prayerful person, that's okay. Use this as reflection. But if everybody could join me in prayer, please, as we start. God, thank you for this opportunity. Use my words for your glory to honor Jesus' famous words in Matthew 22, where he said, first, love you, God, with all of your heart, with all of your might, and with all of your soul, and as equal, love your neighbor as yourself. Notice he did not say your neighbor that looks exactly like you, that believes exactly the same things that you do. Love your neighbor. And if you can hear my voice, much love and peace and understanding to you. So with that, we'll get started. I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I went to a very integrated high school. That's something that I valued and meant a lot to me as a person, because I was able to get a wide range of spectrums of the people that I grew up with. And the reason I bring that up is because it wasn't until a few years ago that one of my black friends actually pointed out to me, Kevin, that was your experience, which it was, from kindergarten all the way through high school. What did not occur to me is that those black boys and girls that I went to high school with, they were coming from the inner city. 45 minutes to 1 hour, one way to come to school with me. The point I bring up is it did not occur to probably well-meaning people to address the systemic issues in their neighborhood and their school system that cause their schools to be quote-unquote failing. Instead, let's pile them into a bus, send them for an hour, and then, oh, by the way, expect them to perform at the same way that me and the people that were in the neighborhood were from. And so I bring that up for a few reasons. One, myself was blinded to these sorts of things. It didn't occur to me that the story was true from my standpoint. I grew up with a lot of people from all over the rainbow, and that's true. I didn't see the other half. So with that, I'm a little bit of a geek and a nerd, even though I kind of look like a big burly guy. And so when we first moved here to Belton, this building is beautiful. It is absolutely stunning to look at. I like to take pictures, and I came down here and took some pictures, and then I started walking around. And I walked over there and over here, and then I got over to here, and I saw this monument over here and what it represents, and my heart sank. And again, I'm a fat white dude. I could not imagine being a person of color, knowing what that represents, because it got to me, okay? It got to me. And it didn't, is that welcoming? So how is it, because this all relates to history and the stories that we're told and the things that we're led to believe, how is it that me, who grew up integrated, until 2 years ago, I had no idea what Juneteenth was? I'd never heard of it. How is that?
Oh, Kevin.
How is it and then until this year when somebody had a rally there, I had never heard of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma? How is that?
Free, sir.
How is it that until this year, I had never heard that in 1921, people that looked like me burned that Black Wall Street to the ground in order to keep black people down? I'd never heard that.
It, Kevin. Yep.
How is it that probably everybody in here has never heard of the story of Madam C.J. Walker, who is the first female self-made millionaire? She also happens to be an African American. Now listen, the time in which her career took off was 1910 to 1920. Pay attention to the dates for the rest of my talk. Madam C.J. Walker, the world's first self-made female millionaire, happened to be African American. How is it, and this is going to get real uncomfortable for some of y'all, so I apologize. How is it that most of us have never heard of the Waco horror? That's a lynching of 17-year-old Jesse Washington that occurred 40 miles north of here in Waco, Texas. A boy that who most likely was special needs, who was tried and convicted in a 1-hour trial on May 15, 1916. Again, pay attention to the date. And literally within seconds of that gavel coming down, he was grabbed by an angry mob. A chain was put around his neck. He was dragged out of that courthouse. While he was dragged to the city hall, he was stabbed repeatedly. His clothes were ripped from his body. His fingers and his genitals were cut off of his body. He is drugged to the city hall in Waco. This is a horrific story that none of us have heard. When he gets there, he's covered in coal oil, lit on fire, and then by that chain around his neck, quite literally, is dropped onto a fire that was waiting for him. But he wasn't just dropped there. They lift him back up in order to keep him alive as long as possible. How is it that 10 to 15,000 people watched this happen? Again, May 21st, 1916. Pay attention to the date. How is it that in 1915, there's a lynching in Temple? How is it that in 1910, on this very ground that I walk on, these very streets that we are on, there's a lynching of another black man? How is it that we've never heard that?
Talk about it, Kevin.
I'll get there. Don't worry. So, how is it that many people that look like me, when people of color demand justice, they want to use this caricature of Dr. King, who was a great man. You know, but they'll ignore the fact that when Dr. King was assassinated, 85% of white people disapproved of him. They'll come up with this, you know, this romanticized version of what the truth is. Okay. Why does everybody want to pick and choose and cherry pick the great I Have a Dream speech, but ignore the equally as important and powerful letter from a Birmingham jail, where Dr. King wrote, and I quote, "The KKK, Negro's great stumbling block is not the KKK, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers negative peace in which an absence of tension to a positive peace in the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection." Those words of Dr. King are no more applicable today than it was the day that he wrote them. You know, how is it that until we're equipped with cameras all over the place, that people that look like me never believed in inhumane treatment of people like Eric Gardner, Philandro Castillo, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Breonna Taylor, Terrence Crutcher, Alton Sterling, George Floyd, and yes, Michael Dean? How is it? You see, history is malleable and shapeable by those in power. You know, we've not learned these things because the people that told them didn't want us to learn. So that takes me to, again, somebody said, well, that was a long time ago, but that monument's still there, okay? The romanticized history of that monument is that in 1914 to 1916, the Daughters of the Confederacy, number 101, raised money through bake sales to put up that monument. Very well might be true from that standpoint. However, what is not true, and I've, on social media, I've gotten a lot of response that, hey, you know what, the Klan wasn't even around in Belton County in 1916. Yes, it was, because in 1914, a Mrs. S.E.K. Rose, who was an officer in the Daughters of the Confederacy number 101, she wrote a book. The title of the book was Ku Klux Klan or The Invisible Empire. Okay? So that was written 2 years before that comes up. Okay, I bring all this up because from the end of the Civil War until 1900, great strides were made in America and in the black community. Literacy rate went from 2% at the end of the Civil War to 50% by 1900. People like, the reason I brought up Madam C.J. Walker, that's just one of many stories of people being successful, one generation removed from the bonds of slavery. Okay? So again, with open ears and an open heart, I'm trying to tell you that there's more to the story of that monument over there. Nobody is trying to erase history. I promise you that. It needs to be moved off of the square of this beautiful building. It is not a coincidence that all of these things, it is not a coincidence that all these things that I talked about occurred in the same 15 years and that monument goes up. Finally, one little thing that I thought of yesterday. One thing I thought of yesterday. So that monument is on the northwest corner of this courthouse. It faces northwest. That may seem like a coincidence to y'all, but just on the other side of Nolan Creek over there, there's the Harris Community Center. The Harris Community Center is named that because it used to be the Harris School, which is where all the African Americans went. Do you think it's a coincidence that that monument faces directly to where the community of the black people were? I don't think so. So again, if my words upset you, anything like that, there's still much love. I hope that eventually you might be able to, nobody's calling for it to be destroyed. There are Confederate soldiers that are buried on South Belton Cemetery and North Belton Cemetery. Let's move it there. You can honor your dead there. That is one small step we can take in the miles that we have to go to racial unification. So, if you would, pray with me, please, to end this. Dear God, please open ears that need to hear and hearts that need to feel. Use us all to make this place one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A place where men are judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character, where we are free at last. And thank God Almighty when that day will come. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Kevin. It's the main reason why I reached out to you, man. All right, so listen, we only got 2 speakers left, and then we're going to get to the action that everybody's been talking about, dialoguing about. I got an amazing, chosen by God, man of God from Waco, Texas. He is one of the pastors at Antioch Community Church in Waco, Texas, and he goes by the name of Pastor O. Y'all help me welcome Pastor O.
Yeah.
How y'all doing tonight? My full name is Olayika Obasanya. It's Nigerian for those who are wondering. I've been born and raised in the United States of America my whole life. And there's one thing that I really need y'all to understand about me. It's the main thing that you need to know about me is that I love the Lord with all my heart, and all my soul, and all my mind. And I am a believer, believe that. But I need y'all to understand something, because tonight I want to reintroduce some of you to that God that I love so deeply. That Lord Jesus Christ that I serve, that I've laid my life down for. I want to reintroduce some of you to that Lord and Savior. And the first thing I need you to understand about that God is that that God is a God of justice. He is fiercely committed to justice in each and every way. In every city, in every nation, all around the world, he is committed to justice. He doesn't settle for anything less. The other thing I need you to understand about my God is that he is a God of righteousness. He's a God of holiness. Amen. And I know some of y'all might have aunties and uncles that told you about God's holiness, and when you hear that, you start getting a little bit antsy because they said it in a judgmental way. But my God is not judgmental. You see, he sent his son down to die on the cross, that each and every one of us in our brokenness and in our sin would be righteous before our God, would be righteous in his presence. So listen to this. There's a word in the New Testament called diakos, and it means this. It means that justice and righteousness are one. Those two terms are not separate. When God talks about justice, he's talking about righteousness. And when he talks about righteousness, he's talking about justice. So there can't be a church that's committed to righteousness that ain't committed to justice. It just can't happen. It just can't happen. Our God is committed to righteousness and justice. Those two terms cannot be separate. And over time, there have been people who call on the name Jesus Christ. Some of you know him as Yeshua, some of you know him as Yahweh, some of you know him as Alpha and Omega, some of you know him as Jehovah Jireh, some of you know him as Jehovah Nisi. Whatever you call him, he will never change his ways. He will never stop being committed to those who are oppressed and marginalized. And when the people of God have gotten that, in the early church, there was infanticide going on. Babies were being killed for no reason, for no good reason at all. And they stepped up and they said, we must put an end to this. And people were being killed in auditoriums and stadiums for entertainment. And they put an end to it because something inside of them said that this ain't right. We can't just be out here living holy and living righteous in our personal homes and not be fighting for justice in the land that we live in. So I believe that each and every person in here, if you call yourself a Christian, there is something that should be shaking inside of you right now. Fire in your belly that should be burning up. When black people are being killed for no reason, when Latinos are being killed for no reason, that rises up inside of you and says, like, justice be served. Let justice be served. After that, we see in the 1800s, a white man by the name of William Wilberforce. He starts reading this book. He starts perusing the pages of this book. And he grows up in the Word and he says, something's wrong. Why is slavery okay in my land? Why is the mistreatment and the dehumanization of black image bearers being allowed through the act of slavery? And he finds in the Word, he's reading Amos 5:24, where it says, let justice roll like a river. And again, that fire in his belly is lit, and he devotes his life to ending slavery forever. What he would do would go on to start the abolitionist movement in America. A white Christian in England read the Word and said that slavery was wrong. So he didn't just preach it, he acted on it. And he acted on it even if it meant death for him. But guess what? Slavery ended in the UK because of his efforts. The abolitionist movement would start. And you would see people like Frederick Douglass, who was a slave, born a slave. And he would be in the fields. Eventually he would get moved into the house. And he's a house slave, right? And as a house slave, you get access to the kitchen.
Talk about it.
So he would go to the kitchen.
Talk about it.
And he would go get the bread. The bread in the kitchen that was left over. And he would go sneak out in the back door. And there was these poor white boys that they knew how to read. So he would give these poor white boys this bread in exchange for them to teach him how to read. Right? So he would learn how to read, and every day, day after day, he's like, hold up, what bread we got today? We got Wonder Bread, we got wheat bread, we got whatever you want. I got the bread, y'all teach me how to read. So he started learning how to read, and he started learning how to read this book that the slave masters had told him was all for his oppression, that they said all this book teaches you is how to obey your slave master. But he starts reading it, and he starts seeing that no, this is not the God I serve. And the God of white America, of white slave-owning America, is not the God of the Bible. So he devotes his life once again. He devotes his life once again to making a change. Frederick Douglass would be known and go down in history as one of the greatest abolitionists, one of the greatest leaders to ever be known. He was actually the most photographed man in that era. So let's fast forward to the 1960s, to the 1950s, and another young man started reading this book. His name was Martin Luther King Jr. And he started reading this book. And once again, he started seeing that there were some discrepancies in what pastors were preaching, men of God were preaching, and what he was seeing in this book. And again, that Amos 5:24 was burning so loud in his ears. Let justice roll like a river and righteousness like a stream. That Micah 6:8 was tingling in his ears. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly. That Proverbs 28:5, understand justice, but those who seek the Lord know all of it. He devoted his life to justice, for black people to have the right to vote, for black people to have the right to go to the same schools as white people, for black people to have the right to exist like everybody else. He fought, but the fight is not over. And here we are. It's 2020, y'all. It's 2020, y'all. And here we are again. And white pastors and white leaders are saying there's no such thing as social justice in the Bible. And again, I'm reading through my word, and I'm saying, how? How don't you see the pain of a marginalized people for 400 years? How do you not see it? How does justice not ring in your ears? So I say tonight that each and every person here, if you call yourself a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, it is time to step up and fight for justice. This is not like a social cause. This is a biblical command. This is a biblical command. Tonight, I think something's going to awaken in somebody. There's some people, you've given up on God because guess what? You thought he doesn't care about this. You've been lied to. You've been lied to. Guess what? Every night when I'm seeing news about Ahmaud Arbery, and I'm seeing news about George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Trayvon Martin, I'm weeping and I'm shedding tears. But my God is shedding tears too.
because this breaks his heart as well. But guess what? Justice always wins.
Yeah.
Justice always prevails. So I will be on the side of the winner. And that's God.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust him. I'm going to continue to pray to him. I'm going to continue to worship him because the God that was sold to me as a young man, a God who doesn't care about the things that plague this country, that ain't the God I serve. The God I love, the Jesus that I devoted my life to, he cares about these things. So I love y'all. Patrick, thank you for the opportunity to share with you guys. Look, y'all, I'm not an activist. I'm just a man who loves Jesus. That really is it. I'm not. I'm just a man who loves Jesus, but I can't read his word. I can't see this truth without seeing a man who's fiercely committed to this stuff. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to have you guys bow your heads if you don't mind. If you're praying people, please just bow your heads. If not, that's okay too. But I'm going to just ask that if you've never made that connection between faith and justice until this moment, I just want to ask that you'd raise your hand boldly. Everybody, eyes closed. You want to serve a God of justice. You want to devote your life to him. I just ask that you raise your hand boldly. Anybody, thank you. Amen. 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 Right now, heaven is celebrating on what's happening in Belton, Texas. And the gates of hell will not prevail against what God is doing. So I just pray for every man and every woman and every girl and every boy with their hands up right now. God, I just pray that as they've committed to you, God, and they're making a decision to live for you, Jesus, I just pray that you would touch their hearts, God, and let them know that you care for them, that you love them, God, and that you care for justice, and you love that too, God, and that their fight for justice aren't in vain, that you see the tears, that you see the pain in these streets, God.
It's not the first time.
And you care about those things too.
Oh my God.
So Lord, I just pray that each and every person, as they made a decision to follow you, the true God, a God of justice and righteousness, Lord, would you seal that word? In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Preacher. Next up, I got my brother, the other organizer of this amazing, life-changing history event, Roger Crane.
How far? About right here? Okay. You get three? My man in the back, shirt on, can you hear me? Man with the orange shirt on, can you hear me? Give me a wave. Y'all can hear me? My man up top. Y'all can hear me okay? Just beautiful. This is my home. So this means the world to me. This is beautiful. Thank y'all for coming out. How's everybody doing? Hey, clip up. What is everybody afraid of Antifa for? What does she look like? She look like your mama? So my name is Broderick Crane. I'm from Belton, Texas. I graduated from Belton and then I went on to UMSB, played football with this amazing man, Bryson Tucker. He's also a graduate over there. And to be honest with y'all, I'm 28 now. For most of my life, I didn't exactly understand racism. I kind of was like, oh, that stuff ended when slavery died, right? And the thing about it is I didn't know what to look for. And so, as being a part of this community, not only should we strive to live a good life, I also believe that it's our duty to make sure the ones after us have a little bit better life than what we had. So how many of y'all have kids out there? How many of y'all have kids? Cool. If you also believe that you want your children and your children's children to have a better life than you did, let me hear you say I'm with you. Right. And so anytime you want to fix something, you want to improve something, it requires two things. Number one, you have to give it attention. And number two, you have to work at it. I like to work out, I think y'all can tell. But if I stop working out, not only do my muscles stop growing, eventually I start to get weaker. And so there's some people out here, and I've been reading on Facebook, because this is a tight-knit community, that believe that the way we fix these issues is just to stop talking about them. But when you stop talking about things, you actually don't fix it. You actually end up going backwards. But if we are going to improve, we have to come to an understanding of what it is that we're actually trying to improve. And so I grew up in Belton, and I didn't see anybody get lynched. I didn't see any crosses being burned. KKK wasn't walking around. And so there's a lot of people that think that that's the type of racism we're talking about. But the racism that we're talking about is being pulled over and your white girlfriend being asked by the police if she's okay. Hiding from parents because you guys are in a interracial relationship and you can't be seen because they're racist. Black girls being harassed about their hair. Being told that you can't sing at a graduation because your voice sounds too non-traditional. I remember a story, and it didn't actually make sense to me at the time, but these group of guys, they told me, they said, hey Roger, you need a place to stay tonight because we got a tree out back. And when I was young, I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it wasn't anything good. But as a 28-year-old man, I realized that I was offered to be lynched at the age of 14. And so my concern is this is my home, and those guys are now raising children, and so who's to say they aren't teaching those same ideas to them? Statues. Everybody gets riled up over statues. Now, I'll start by saying that I don't believe we need to go vandalize and tear stuff down, right? We don't. But I'll stand firm right here. Yeah. I'll stand firm here and say that I do believe that we should relocate it. And here's why before you cut me off, because I know some people like to do that. Some people like to fight and say that if we don't remember our history, we're doomed to repeat it. I don't need a statue of Ted Bundy to remember to not go around killing women. So why do you need a statue to be reminded to not be racist? And so, this is my home and this means the world to me. But we gotta address these issues. And I know some of y'all are sitting back, you're like, shit man, I'm going through a divorce right now. I ain't got time to care about black people. We all have our own issues we're working through, I get that. I'm not gonna beg you to care for me and love me. But if you don't care to address my pain, stop downplaying it and just admit it. And if I tell you my house is on fire, don't tell me it's not that bad. Either help me put it out or get the hell out the way. And so, stop trying to shut people up. Stop trying to tell us we're wrong for feeling this way. Because you never walked a day in our shoes, and I've never walked a day in yours. This community needs to get to a place where I can tell you I'm hurting, and if you have the ability to help me, I expect it. And you need to be able to do the same thing to me when you're hurting. When's the last time you said hello to a stranger? When's the last time you reached out to somebody who was different than you? You see, the reason why racism has happened so much in school is because that's the only place where we're forced to congregate. And then you go on about your life and we start paying bills and we stay in our own little bubble and in our own little comfort zone. Go have lunch with somebody that's different to you. And don't try to shut them up, just listen. And if y'all gonna invite us over for dinner, put some seasoning on the food. All right. Give Roger a round of applause. We got 5 more minutes, and I'm gonna get to Belton, Texas.
Hi, my name's Richard, and I graduated in 1971. That summer, me and my buddy were running around town, saw a policeman. There was a police car. Back in the day, they could do that. Well, there was a police stop with me and my 2 buddies. And that was back when you could do that, you know. Can't do that anymore. But anyway, one of my friends had some weed, and he chunked it out the window. And the car behind us told the cop. So he comes around, he arrests all three of us, and we go to Belton County Jail right over there. And in that jail was a friend of mine that I played baseball with for years. I don't know. Does anyone know Charlie Rogers? You know Charlie Rogers? Charlie Rogers and I were the same age. We played baseball together. Charlie was a great athlete. But he had some marijuana too. And that weed was a quarter of what I got.
Talk about it.
It was a quarter of what I had. Monday morning comes around. All three of us were handcuffed, along with Charlie. We walked across from Belton County Jail, go in front of that Confederate soldier, and go up here, and Floyd Campbell gave us our bail. My dad was there, and he was pissed because he was going to have to pay the bail. Well, it was a personal recognizance. Dad gets a lawyer, charges were dropped. 6 months later, I'm over there at the Dairy Queen, and I see Charlie. I haven't seen him since that night, since that day. I said, Charlie, where have you been? I just got out of jail. Charlie spent 6 months for less weed than me. Charlie had the same record that I had, which was 0 at the time. A few years later, I see Charlie in the paper. Charlie's going to prison. And I asked myself, would that have been me?
Oh.
Would that have been me if I was black
and,
and Charlie was white? And the answer is yes. It was. It is. Now people say that doesn't happen no more. It does happen, people. It does happen. For nothing.
Can't hear you.
There has been a marginalization of African Americans and Hispanics in this country since its creation. And it goes on today. People get the same charges and they get off because they're white. And if you don't think so, then you haven't been looking. You haven't been seeing, and you haven't experienced it. The last 20 years after I got out, I went to college, I graduated college, went to graduate school, and I spent a lot of my career up there as a social worker handling cases. And I see it day in and day out for years. If you were black, you didn't get out. If you were white, you got out. Now that's wrong, people. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. That's wrong. And we have a time and an opportunity to end that once and for all. And it means getting rid of that Confederate statue.
Yes, sir. Can't hear you.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mike, just for a second, I'm going to change the back. Check mic, can y'all hear me? Belton, Texas, can y'all hear me? Belton, Texas, can y'all hear me? I'm here. Belton, Texas, I'm here. And I'm here for y'all. Dear Belton, Texas. Dear Belton, Texas. Let me see how far I can go with this microphone real quick. Let's go. Here we go.
All right. Dear Belton, Texas, you were first settled in 1850, and your first name was Nolanville, given by the historical known Nolan Springs, which was named after the explorer Philip Nolan. In 1851, your most recent name became Belton. Named after a Texas governor, Peter Hansberry Bell. I think his statue is right over there. Y'all point that way. Everybody point that way.
Anybody born in 1851?
Shut up! Peter Hansberry Bell made Belton the county seat of the newly created Bell County. Hold on, let me take you back just a little further. Peter Hansberry Bell, who gave Belton its name, was born March 11th, 1810. Yes, that's history. Guess where he was born, though? Culpeper County, Virginia. Shut up! He was educated in Virginia, Maryland before... We good, y'all. Don't worry about it. And they don't want this to be a peaceful protest. Let me take you back just a little further. Peter Hansberry Bell, who gave Belton its name, was born March 11, 1810. He was born in Virginia. He was educated in Virginia, Maryland before coming to Texas. Why does Virginia sound so familiar? Let me take you to 1619, when whites went to hunt thousands of blacks and brought us back here on ships to Jamestown, Virginia. White people, in 1641, you made slavery a legal institution in Massachusetts. But let me get back to Belton, Texas, because that's why I'm here. Peter Bell gets an applause from people because he fought under Sam Houston as a private soldier, whom we have a university named after here in Texas, and is considered a legend in Texas, even though it's factual proof that Sam Houston also owned slaves himself. We have statues of known slave owners, and they are upset when we want to take them down. And some have the nerve to be even mad when the quarterback won the field. Dear Bell, Texas, Peter Bell was not forced to support the Confederacy. He willingly donated tons of money for the cause to keep slavery a legal institution in America. Let me take you to history class real quick, and then I promise you I'm going to get to 2020. The city named after Peter Bell. But Peter got the short end of the stick. It was one of the reasons why he went broke. He willingly donated all his money to a cause to continue hate. The man that named Belton, Texas. This young black man is just talking. An educated black man is a threat to some, I've noticed, in Belton, Texas. Hold on, I'm not done. Dear Belton, that statue right over there, y'all point over there. That statue right over there, Peter Bell. He married Ella Eaton of North Carolina. There he became really good friends with Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis is another clown in the books of history who went down on the wrong side of history due to racism and hate in his heart. Jefferson Finis Davis was an American politician who served as the president of the Confederate States from 1861 to 1865. White people, many of your historians attribute many of Confederacy's weaknesses due to Davis's poor leadership. Dear Belton, that statue was friends with that statue over there was friends with a poor leader like Davis that caused so much division and hate. Bell. Peter Bell was part of the good old boy system. Y'all familiar with that good old boy system here in Belton, huh? Y'all familiar with that good old boy system here in Belton, Texas, huh? Y'all point to that statue for me. Peter Bell was part of the good old boy system. Bell was made colonel of his regiment with the valiant services for the Confederacy after he raised regiment and equipped it out of his own funds. This man hated an individual by the skin of his color so much that he donated all his money. This man donated all of his money for a war because he didn't want slavery to stop. You got to be a very hateful and evil individual to donate all your money to continue slavery. And that's that man that's over there on that statue. What does all that mean? Bell was in support of the Confederacy so much that he gave his own money and equipped a whole department in efforts to continue the legal institution of slavery. That statue is so desperate of the continuation of slavery, hate, and racism that he invested so much money that he went broke for betting on the wrong side of history. But it makes sense because that statue owned over 400 slaves and lived like a king prior to the war off the back of thousands of black men and women. That statue, y'all go ahead and point at it, owned over 400 slaves. Don't worry, we're going to count up the cost. The good old boy system is so strong, though, after he lost on betting for hate and evil, the Texas legislature awarded the former governor, Peter Bell, an annual $150 and 1,280 acres. Texas gave this man $150 annual and over 1,000 acres. Texas legislature, what the hell is black and brown folks' annual pension and real estate back then? Peter Bell's body was buried with honors in Austin, Texas. Bell County, Texas is named after Peter Bell. America, Texas and Belton, you are named after hate, racism, and the dehumanization of black and brown individuals. Dear Belton, Texas, I'm not done. Why did Peter Bell come to Texas? It was not just a fight under Sam Houston. There's something called the cotton gin that made white folks very wealthy in the South. The profit margins were similar and higher in many areas to the tobacco trade that was going on up north off the back of slaves. Peter Bell doesn't deserve a statue. He came to the South to become wealthy off the harsh conditions of slaves. An average slave would be equivalent to $40,000 today. Let's count the cost. Peter Bell is documented to having owned over 400 slaves. 40,000 times 400. Y'all do the math. That's a wealthy man. Dear Belton, Texas, it's 2020 and you still have that statue up. Dear Belton, Texas, after the Civil War, there's documented proof that the hate and evil on this very land continued because of the agenda of racist individuals did not succeed. Lynching continued to happen, mainly targeting those for the Union and those of color. Some are saying that educated black man from Temple, Texas, who graduated from Temple Junior College and from Baylor University with current offers all over the country to further his education doesn't know what to talk about. Dear Belton, Texas, you lynched an 18-year-old black man by the name of Henry Jenner on July 22nd in 1910. That black man looked like me. You accused this black child of staring through the window at a white woman by the name of Miss Lamb. I'm talking about Belton, Texas. The daughter reported that she fired a gun at a black face she was not familiar with. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Dear Belton, Texas, Lamb's neighbor called Jim Mitchell, who was a local constable at the time. There were no suspects, but a pair of shoes and a hat was found beneath the window. Bloodhounds took the scent from the shoes and hat at the scene. The dogs would not leave the Lamb's house. The morning news stated, hounds would not trail the Negro. In other words, the possibility that the hat and shoes might have belonged to someone else and even someone at the Lamb's residence. Henry Jittery blackness caused him to be guilty of looking at a white woman through her window and gave him a death sentence. Let me repeat that. Henry's blackness caused him to be guilty of looking at a white woman through her window and gave him a death sentence. Right here in Belton, Texas. Dear Belton, you killed another innocent black man with a future because you hated the color of his skin. Belton, Texas, the killing of unarmed black men has been going on for a long time. And the heartbeat of history in Belton, Texas is still beating today. I'm almost done. Give me 5 minutes. The heartbeat of racism and hate is still beating in Belton, Texas. But I came to encourage another heartbeat that has started thumping. And that heartbeat is of unity, change, and justice for all. I am very pleased to have the privilege to say that you have a police chief here in Belton, Texas, that is determined to figure out how this community can continue to grow into a better community for everybody, regardless of what color you are or what gender you are. You have a chief here that's determined to bring this community together. Raise your hand as one. Put up the one. As one. We'll get to the chief of the police soon here. Anytime you live in a society supposedly based upon law and it doesn't enforce its own laws because the color of a man's skin happens to be wrong, then I say to those people, they're justified to resort to any means necessary to bring justice when the government can't give them justice. This conversation on race equality not only needs to be had between black and white folks, brown and white folks, but also white folks need to have these conversations amongst each other. White people, you need to start talking to each other. Power needs to talk to power. I'm not saying white men run America. We all know the black dollar runs America. The white folks are in the position of power. They are the majority of our Congress, legislation, CEOs, head coaches, GMs, owners, pastors, mayor, city council, chief of police, law enforcement, professors in our colleges. White man and woman need to talk amongst white man and woman. The legislative branch changes laws, and yes, laws need to be changed, but more importantly, hearts need to be changed before we can experience real equality. You're talking to the heart. Laws have been changing since blacks were only considered 3/5 of a person. Laws have been changing since they gave us the rights to vote, but in 2020, even with all these laws that have changed, we still have a heart issue here in Belton, Texas. Dear Belton, my mother is white and Hispanic. My mother, wherever you are, come up here with me, please. Give a round of applause for my mother. True story. I didn't start talking until I was 5 years old, and my mother and many others thought something was wrong with me. They took me to the hospital. They made sure I wasn't deaf. They made sure I wasn't mute. And when I turned 5 years old, my mother said I didn't stop talking. I guess, I got a purpose and a reason to be here. But this is my mother. My first client as a licensed realtor was two amazing white individuals. Many of my clients who are professional athletes are white. My first client from one of the biggest basketball schools in America, the University of Kentucky, is white. Many of my mentors are white. One of my best friends, Clint Kelly, is white. Belton, Texas. I don't have to prove to you that I have love for you, but Belton, Texas, folks residing in your area have proven to me that they still have a heartbeat for the history of this city. And that is on all sides, white, brown, and black. There are racist whites, there are racist blacks, and there are racist brown folks here. Their time is up. I'm going to repeat that. There are racist whites, blacks, and brown folks here in Belton, Texas. Y'all's time is up. Alright, I'm going to ease up off that old school history, and let me tell my white people something. I love y'all so much, and I need y'all to help me bring about unit, one love. So for that, I'm gonna close my message. Dear new history of Belton, these are some things you must do to continue moving forward towards unity and justice for all. If police brutality happens in your city, you must call it out and march all around until it's stomped back in the dirt. Continue to fight and make sure everyone has the same and equal rights. There are a lot of things I don't agree with, but everyone, whether black, brown, white, male, female, heterosexual, homosexual, transgender, deserves respect and love. Set up organizations that inform the community on cultures that live within this community. Organize voter registration meetings that inform the community on all local, state, and national candidates running for office. Within 10 days from the protests in Temple, Texas, Austin, Texas, and Dallas, Texas. So many great organizations were established to inform the community on what needs to be done to make a better place for everyone within the community. In Temple, Texas, Terrace Goodwin and many others established Wake Up Temple. Within 2 weeks, Wake Up Temple had a community voters registration event to make sure that everyone was able to vote and had information on all candidates. Belton, you have some of these great organizations already, and I come to light the fire under your leaders. Get active. Now is the time to get active. I had a dream that Belton was a light in Texas and darkness was no longer allowed. I'm going to say it again. I had a dream that Belton was a light of Texas and darkness was no longer allowed. Belton, you must take care of your neighborhood. What I mean is that the streets you live on, you must not condone any violence. You must not condone any racism or hate. And if you do spot it, report it to law enforcement and my friend Chief Ellis, and report it to these organizations that will be established in Belton, Texas, so leaders can address it as well. I know we are all busy people, but when you can get familiar with other neighborhoods and individuals in the community, you can grow as one. Show up to your town meetings. Express how you feel about our situations. Don't be afraid to articulate uncomfortable conversations. There is growth in being uncomfortable. Attend sporting events. And when y'all go to represent these amazing Belton Tigers and UMHB Crusaders, give your neighbor a hug. Smile at them. But y'all wait to give them a hug after we figure out plumbing. When you see someone being mistreated, don't just record it, defend it.
Sorry about that, guys.
Somebody being mistreated, don't just record it, defend it. I made a very powerful statement in Temple that if I ever in my life see a law enforcement with his weight on my brother or my sister's neck, I'm not just going to record him, I'm going to knock him out. Amen. Last thing. Y'all go vote in November. Y'all go vote in November. This is my last paragraph. And then I'm going to bring y'all's amazing chief of police here.
Sorry guys, I'm trying to get my my phone's about to die.
I came to your city to have your back. Belton, Texas. I came to your city to have your back. But in return, y'all have my back.
Sorry, I had to plug in my phone.
Belton, everybody raise your fists. Love and unity is here. Belton, you have shown me so much love and support, and I thank you all. What I am doing is very different than what you see going on in the world, but I have similar interests, I promise you. To unite us as one. I make the statement often that I fear God only, and I stand on that. Not one human being, not one will ever put fear in my heart. But what I am doing has put my life in danger. What I am doing has caused folks to hate me. I have received death threats in many forms and fashions. But with all of that, I see all of y'all. And it's absolutely worth it.
It's just not letting me freaking type for some reason. For some reason I can't type.
With all of that, if this causes one kid to grow up and be able to have a fighting chance at equality and justice for all it is worth, I'll die a happy black man. If all of this makes the younger generation a better world than the one we grew up in, it will be worth it. When my daughter grows up and says her dad did his very best to make the world a better place, it will be worth it. Belton, Texas, you have inspired me to keep going until we are all one. Everybody raise the one. Belton, Texas, my plan was to come here and make this a better place, but all of you ended up making me a better man. There is a new heartbeat in Belton, Texas, and it's thumping.
That's funny.
There's a new heartbeat in Belton, Texas. And y'all, this time, ain't beaten with the hate and racism of the history, but it's beating with unity, love, and justice for all. Repeat after me. Belton.
Belton.
Texas.
Texas.
Strong.
Strong.
Belton.
Belton.
Texas.
Texas.
Love.
Love.
Belton.
Belton.
Texas.
Texas.
Unity.
Unity.
Belton.
Belton.
Texas.
Texas.
Thank you.
Here,
Good evening, Belton.
That one's almost dead.
Try this one.
Nope. Nah, never mind. Oh, there's the other one right there. Try that one there.
Okay. Good evening, Belton, and all our visitors. Thank you. Thank you for showing that Belton is different and that Belton is better. We serve you. That's the difference here. Belton understands that we have to lead with the heart of a servant. We have to put you first, and we have to treat all
This police chief is an amazing man.
with compassion, with dignity, remaining professional. And that's what my pledge to you is to make sure that we continue to serve first rather than be served. I think the most profound thing you heard from this podium tonight, there was two things. You heard about the heart. I'm a true believer. Because of my faith, I believe it's a heart issue. If we change hearts, whether the heart is evil that's wearing polyester, the color I am, or the person that intends to do bad things to our community, we got to change hearts. And the way to change hearts is to practice loving one another and loving our neighbor as ourselves. If we do that, the job of law enforcement's easy. We can't do it without you. We can't do it alone. Let me tell you about all these law enforcement officers you see around here. The thing that they are most disturbed about, like you, is one of us that wear this does something to tarnish this badge. And we also stand in that gap with you and intercede and intervene. It's been our mission for over a decade. We've banned chokeholds for over a decade. We were the first agency in the region to have body cameras to make that difference. I can tell you that 99% of those, they're your neighbors, they're moms and dads, they sit in the church pews with you, they're in the grocery stores with you, and that's the men and women that wear this uniform. 99% of them do it with the right heart and do it to put you first every day. And we stand with you every day. And speaking from the bigger platform as the president of the Texas Police Chiefs Association, 1,500 members, I can tell you that Texas is determined to do it different and to be the model and be the beacon and be the light that shines for our communities to make that difference. Thank you for coming out tonight and making everyone see, everyone that's watching, that we can do it different. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Cool. Thank everybody for coming out. What we're going to do real quick is we're going to do a little march around the building. Originally, we were going to march to the police station, but then we looked at it. That's a long-ass walk. So we're going to walk around the building right here. So we're going to line up behind Patrick and just march around the building. If you'd love to march with us, we're going to welcome. Thanks everybody for coming out, and we appreciate it.
All right, guys. Hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut off this live feed for now. And I'll turn it back on here in a little bit. I'm gonna let my phone charge a little, and then I'll come back on because now that it's getting dark, I think that's when the bad people might start coming out. Hey, take care. Let me turn this off real quick.